Welcome to another episode of Dinner Starts Here. This time we've got brothers Scott and Todd showing us hops. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming. Yeah.
So hops, now you've got a stack of it kind of in behind you. Maybe we can start, Todd, first off. What's a hop and what's it used for?
Well, this is a hop cone. So that's an actual hop right there. And what it's used for is in brewing beer, the brewers use the yellow oils and stuff inside of it, the lupulin, for adding bitterness and flavors to all different kinds of beer.
Isn't that something? So you're the essential part of beer. You guys must be fairly popular when you start talking about that you're growing hops. You're a stage in it.
It was easy to get you out here.
Yeah, it was quite easy. Weird how that works. So then, Scott, give me an idea, because this is a fairly new venture for you. I mean, you guys have been farmers for a while. Why change into hops?
Well, we haven't changed. So we still do corn and beans, and those are our main crops. But we've added hops in, and for us, adding hops in was just a kind of diversification thing, something that's not tied to commodity markets. It's a crop that we can irrigate. We don't irrigate corn and soybeans at all. So with the hops, if we're having a dry summer like we have this year, we can put out water on them, and same as last year, and we can keep up with the water that way. And then, if corn and beans go up and down in price together, the hops aren't tied to that too much. So that way it kind of, maybe manages risk a bit. And then with harvest, we're harvesting right now, so we'll be done hops harvest in a week, 2 weeks, and that's probably 2 or 3 weeks before we're going to start corn and beans. So it fits in timing wise pretty well for us. We really just started selling them last year, and the way we do it mostly is call up all the small craft breweries around and kind of start as close to us as we can and just work our way out. And we call them and tell them what we've got. There's tons of different varieties of hops. We grow 3. We grow Cascade, Centennial, and Chinook. And so we'll call up a brewery and say, we've got this amount of these hops, and if you're interested, we'll happily come up. We'll show you what we've got, and that's kind of the jumping off point. It's totally new for them. We're way out of the blue. Like, they've never heard of us before, so we really need to get them used to what we're doing, that there are hops available locally. They don't have to import everything. And so to do that, you got to go and show them what you got.
Cool. All right, Scott, you've brought us out to the hop yard, and I mean, first thing that's hard to miss is just how tall these things are. How tall do hops grow?
We've got them on an 18-foot high trellis. I think they would grow higher, but that 18 feet kind of maximizes their growing patterns so that they get up as high as they need to at the right time of year, and then they start growing out. And so 18 feet kind of seems to work here in North America.
Yeah, so then, I mean, how do you get them to grow tall? You've got quite a bit of infrastructure even just to get them there.
Yeah, that's right. So we've got poles every 36 feet and lengthwise and 26 across, and then we're running cable on top of those poles and then cable down our rows. And to each of those cable that runs down the row, we're tying a string. We're tying 2 strings actually at each plant, and so you tie it at the top and then stick it in the ground right next to the plant, and that's the string that the plant will actually grow up on.
And then does it just grow up kind of like a vine up around it then itself?
Yeah, so it climbs on its own, and it will find the string on its own, but the best thing to do is come out 2 weeks after when you got about a 3-foot long little shoot coming out, and you grab that and you start training it around counterclockwise, and as soon as you get the thing started on there, it'll go crazy and just climb on its own. It follows the sun going across the sky. It follows that across and curls around and around and around and climbs, and it'll climb up to a foot in a day.
A foot a day?
Yeah, I think that's like the high end, but
yeah, but still,
it's crazy.
That's pretty aggressive. So then, Now these are all pretty tall. You've got those cones on them. I mean, what's that cone look like then?
Sure, yeah, so this is a Chinook here, and so this is the specific thing we're harvesting is this physical cone, and but the properties that the brewers really want are in here in this dark yellow oil. So this is called lupulin, like Todd mentioned, and it's very aromatic. It's got bitterness to it, and so if you take the cone and just smell it on its own, it's just going to smell green. But once you break it open and get this oil, and if you start rubbing that oil on your fingers, you really start to feel how sticky it is and resinous. and that warmth kind of heats up the aromatics, and you can really get a sense of the flavors that hop will give the beer.
Oh, that's cool. So then how much, we'll go see Todd in a little while on the processing side, but while we're here, like, how many hops does it take to actually get a beer out of it?
So they're coming out of the field wet, and we've got to dry them down, and so we're reducing the weight of this specific cone by 4 to 5 times coming out of the field into a dried pellet. And then from there, the brewers, there's a huge range, but say a keg of beer could take anywhere from like a quarter pound, less than a quarter pound, like essentially no hops, anywhere to 3 pounds or 4 pounds of hops in one keg, a really hoppy, bitter beer.
So then, you've got this, then how do you harvest them?
So we're coming through here first thing in the morning, and we take the whole plant, and we take a knife, and we just cut it right at the bottom. We cut the string, cut the whole plant, and we do that for a whole row, actually 2 rows. And then we'll drive our old grain truck down here with a platform up top, and the grain truck's just wide enough so these two rows will kind of, when they're cut at the bottom, they'll fall right in, and then the walls of the grain truck will lead them into the bed as we're backing down here. Todd's driving the truck backing down, and I'm standing up on top of a platform, and I cut the top, and as they just kind of lay down, they fall down as we go along, and so we can pick everything, and then we drive it right up to the harvest.
All right, Todd, so we've come back from, Scott was showing us how they were growing. Now you've got them here in the processing barn. This is basically the vines as they were growing right here?
Yeah.
Back in the yard?
Yeah, so we bring the whole vine back, cut the whole vine down, bring it all back in a truck, rope and everything. And then we use a machine that sits here in the barn, which will separate the hops from the leaves. Okay. So we'll individually pick out every single one of these vines that we just cut down from the yard. Every one will come in individually, gets loaded in the machine here on a chain that'll drag it into it. The machine will drag it up, and then it drags it over about 7 different finger picking drums, rollers that'll knock all the leaves and all the hops off of the vines. And then through some different fans and some different angles on the conveyors, they'll end up separating the hops, the actual hop cone, from the leaves. And further back in the machine, you can see there's a conveyor to the side which takes the clean hops out, and then those will get loaded up and they're ready to go be dried. And there's another conveyor at the end of the machine which takes all the trash, all the rope and all the leaves and everything. It takes it out the side and we dispose of it.
So then this stuff, a brewery doesn't want a cone like this. You've got another step after basically you do the harvest.
After this wet hop cone comes off in the field, they're harvested green. They need to be dried down. And then after that, they've got to be pelletized, ground up and pelletized. And then after that, they've got to be put in a vacuum-sealed, nitrogen-flushed bag.
Oh, really? What's that, just seal in kind of a...
Yeah, you want to protect it from oxygen.
Okay.
And, to keep them fresh.
Oh, really? So then, once they're sealed in that, then a brewery could use it?
That's what we sell to a brewer, is a bag of hops.
Now, why not wet? Do they just not keep for a year?
Yeah, this won't keep very long. There are beers that brewers will do, fresh hop beer, where they'll take these hops, the whole cone wet hop, and they'll make a beer with that. But it needs to be done like they need to pick the hops up the same day we harvest and be brewing with them the next day or the same day almost.
Oh yeah, it's
very fresh.
So basically, once you get this truck loaded, it's going and it's going to be dried.
Right in the dryer, right onto pelletizing, right into packaging. So it's shorter time as we can from harvest to packaging to stored in a freezer.
Well, boys, now it's like the real deal. You've brought, I don't know why you each have 1 and I have 6. That seems a little aggressive. But you've got, all these are different breweries. Mm-hmm. What are some of the breweries that you guys deal with?
So we deal with these 3. So Side Launch, Anderson's, and New Limburg. And those 2 are kind of the closer ones. Side Launch is up in Collingwood. And Wellington and Guelph we sell some to. Where else? New Ontario in North Bay and Dominion City in Ottawa.
Oh, so you guys have
Yeah.
had hops go all over the province, really?
Yeah, it's interesting who is really like in demand of the local stuff, and it's kind of it spreads across Ontario.
Like they want Ontario hops,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
they're and obviously you want them to want that
Yeah,
too. So
yeah, exactly.
cool. Well, you guys have had a tough day. I'm assuming anyway.
Oh,
You
yeah.
looked like it. So shall we?
Yeah,
That's from. Oh, look at that! You want one of those?
yeah.
There we go. Yeah, I'll share one of my 6 with you. Good. Well, thanks for the tour, guys. This is
Yeah.
awesome.
Thanks for coming.
Cheers.
That was great. Cheers.
From farm to brew.
Yeah.
Not bad.